Well, over the next few days, we'll all be making quite a few trips to the grocery store as we prep for Thanksgiving, I'm sure. Then it starts all over with Christmas, right? So if you ever find it hard to fit all that cooking and baking stuff in your cabinets and pantries, well, you're not alone. That is why we always call on Michael Saunders of ShelfGenie, who somehow can make it all work no matter what your situation. So good to have you back, Michael.
It's always great to be here, Robin.
Okay, most people, I feel like on a normal day, have trouble making everything fit, right? You're kind of like always at a loss for space.
Yeah, for sure.
Throw in the holidays. How do you make it a success?
Yeah, I mean, the holidays just kind of make it 100 times worse.
Right.
You're
It magnifies it.
Yeah, you're buying stuff to cook things that you don't normally cook, and you're buying 5 boxes of cereal to make Chex Mix.
Yeah.
And there's always stuff left over in those boxes.
For sure.
So, on a normal basis, it's pretty easy for us to go into a pantry and make everything fit, make it accessible. But the thing is, normally when we're done, there's space left over. So when you get to the holidays, it's not that hard to fit that extra stuff in there.
To fit that stuff. And do you find a lot of times when you go into people's homes that they have already kind of tried to figure it out on their own, maybe bought some kind of shelf or bin or something?
They've bought, tons of people will go out and buy baskets and bins, and so they pull out of the pantry, right?
Right.
But they don't work because they've got like 5 bins on one shelf or baskets, and
then you just got a bunch of bins falling all over instead of food, right?
Exactly.
All right, so you always have a much better solution, especially when it comes to pantries, which is kind of the people's main storage for a lot of places. So walk us through what you do to make a pantry function better.
I mean, the first thing you do when you walk into a pantry is you've got multiple types of pantries. You've got a cabinet pantry, which is just a tall cabinet. You've got a closet pantry, which is a drywall closet with a regular door on it. And then you have walk-in pantries. So you got to determine what kind of pantry we're looking at. And then there's just multiple ways. I mean, normally in any of those situations, you've got minimal shelving in there.
Right.
It's all evenly spaced. There's about 2 foot between every shelf. The shelves aren't the full depth of the cabinet or the closet, and you're just losing space left and right.
And a lot of times those shelves are the wire shelves, and you try to balance something on them, and then you got things falling all over the place.
The wire shelves are half the depth of the pantry. They're stacking things on top of each other, so now what's on bottom is totally hidden.
And yeah, you can't see any of it. And I love that, we're looking at some of these solutions here, and you could just imagine how much more stuff you'd be able to fit in there, not having it on your countertops, not having it look like things are spilling out when you open a door.
Yeah.
And you can, from spices to food, this is what you do. So your pull-out shelf is kind of the bread and butter of what you do, right?
Yes,
absolutely. How does that work and help and when you're using that?
So making it pull out makes all of the space usable. Right now, you may have space, but it's not usable. You'll walk in and people are doing a U around the shelf, and that's where they're putting stuff, and they're leaving that whole center spot empty so that they can see what's on the shelf. They're not, cramming stuff in there. When it pulls out, you can fill every square inch of that shelf with something because it pulls out and you're gonna be able to see it.
And the shelves, I should mention, because the other day, taking out my crock pot, right? You realize how heavy everything you own really is.
Yeah.
You need to know it's going to hold it.
So our shelves hold 100 pounds when fully extended.
And if you've got a 100-pound crock pot, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
but
it
still,
holds so much.
Pulling that crock pot out of a cabinet and lifting it versus just lifting it off of a shelf that's pulled out is a totally different process to go through and makes it 10 times easier to get it.
What are some of the features that you would say people notice and enjoy the most when you come in and do something?
When we come in, and it's particularly when we do pantries, they don't realize just how many shelves we can put in, and they don't realize how custom it is to what you're going to put on that shelf.
That's the other thing, right? Yeah.
So, for example, we'll do a 7-inch deep shelf when you're putting 12-inch tall items on it. We'll do a 5-inch deep shelf when you're putting 8 to 9-inch height items on it, and we'll do a 2.5-inch shelf when you're putting 6 inches or shorter. We make the lip of the shelf about half the height of what's going on it, particularly in a pantry, because that stuff will tip over easier. And what we don't want is for you to pull a shelf out and things go flying out the back of it, because now you can't get the shelf back in and you got a mess and you got to pull everything out to try and get what fell behind out.
The thing is, you have worked through all of the possibilities. You can customize to each and every person that calls. It all starts with a phone call to Michael and his team. They'll come out, they'll see your mess, and then they'll fix it, which is the most important part. So give them a call. Number on screen. Michael, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Robin.